So, is it that time in your life yet? Do you feel like your family is complete and you and your spouse want to not worry about changing that? Well, the decision can be difficult, but the recovery doesn't have to be. After your vasectomy, you gotta get testes. Doctors usually recommend a jockstrap and ice for your boys to help with comfort. Well, testes is the best of both worlds. This is for the man who is out on the go and needs to get things done. You get the ice packs from the freezer, strap up, and saddle up. The packs give you at least 20 minutes of comfort, even if you're just sitting around watching the game. And most important, guys, no wet spots. Put on the jockstrap under your briefs and go about your day. They come in 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large to get your right fit. Now head on over to testes.com. That's TEST-EEZE.com. TEST-EEZE.com. Your wife is going to thank you for the snip, and your testes are going to be thanking me. Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Spotify, Google Podcast, even Amazon Music, guys, wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can contact Dayspring Discussions also on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. And you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram, SlimDayspring12. Well, hello everyone. It is a sunny morning here in Austin, Texas. Oh, and by the way, did I mention it's 10 degrees here in Austin, Texas? That's right. As most of you probably know, we are experiencing a little bit of a winter storm, something you really don't get that often in Texas and Austin, but woke up yesterday morning with inches of snow on the ground, and the power has been going on and off for the last 24 hours here. It might even go off while I'm trying to do this podcast episode, and if it does, that sucks, because this is something that I wanted to do yesterday. I thought I was going to get a chance to do it yesterday, but of course the power was out for like 8 hours yesterday, so didn't get a chance to do it. Gonna try to do it now before the power goes out, but it might go out while I'm trying to do this. Depends on how long-winded I am, so I'm just gonna try to get through this as fast as I possibly can. This is gonna be about Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. That's right, Sunday, a new trailer for the Justice League Snyder Cut that is going to be released on HBO Max on March 18th came out. A lot of people excited about it, a lot of people curious about it. For me, I am definitely curious and excited for it, mainly because for reasons I'm going to tell you here in just a sec. As we know, the Warner Brothers DC shared cinematic films have not been as successful financially and sometimes critically as, say, the Marvel Studio films. It definitely has its loyal fan base, though. Sometimes I think a little too loyal. I'm the type of person where I see merits in both. I think I enjoy more of the Marvel films than I do the DC films. That's just the way it is. But when everyone ever asks me, am I a Marvel fan or a DC fan, I always say both. You don't have to be one or the other. You don't have to love all the Marvel films and hate all the DC films, or vice versa. You can, take them for what they are. There are some Marvel films like Iron Man 3 or Thor: The Dark World that I do not like, that I really just have no interest in, ever watching ever again. And there are some DC films that I really love watching, like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the ultimate cut of Batman versus Superman, and there are some that I don't like. So that's just, how it is. You don't have to be one or the other. It just so happens that for the general public, we know that a lot of people, tend to skew more towards Marvel, and that's fine because they make films that are more middle of the road, I guess you could say. I mean, let's be honest about it. They try to put the action and the humor and try to make their films for the broadest audience possible, where I think DC, in some cases, especially with the Zack Snyder stuff, has tried to get more of a niche audience, and that niche audience loves what he's done, but it's kind of left other people out of the loop, which why, financially hasn't been as successful. So anyway, we're getting this Zack Snyder Justice League cut of the film, and just to kind of review the history in regards to Zack Snyder and his work with Warner Brothers on the DC properties. It's pretty sordid, honestly. I mean, they announced the Zack Snyder cut of the film, and I would love for one day there to be some kind of documentary or something telling us about just the making of the Justice League film, because there is so much happened in this film and rumored to happen that I think it'd be one of the more interesting making of behind the scenes stories. It's still a little too fresh to tell it, but maybe in about 10, 20 years, we'll get and find out what really happened on the set. So I want to run through a little history real quick before we actually get to the trailer, which I'm going to talk about here. So going all the way back to 2010 is what I guess I'll go back to, is DC comes out with Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. And this was supposed to kick off a cinematic universe like Marvel had started back with Iron Man in 2008. Marvel, they had Iron Man, then they had Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America First Avenger, and then led to the Avengers in 2012, where everything really exploded. And, by that time we had not gotten the Avengers yet, but DC was kind of seeing what Marvel was doing and kind of want to try to do the same thing. The problem was Green Lantern wasn't as well received as, say, Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and all that. So they kind of put the pause on it and then came back in 2013 with Man of Steel, which makes kind of sense. Superman, the world's biggest hero, you want to start a cinematic universe, starting with him would be a great idea. And they tapped Zack Snyder, who at that time was famous for 300, Watchmen, and Sucker Punch. I did not like this idea because, I had really nothing against Zack Snyder. It was the idea of his style of filmmaking and what Superman was supposed to represent, what tone he was supposed to have, that really didn't feel like they meshed well together. And yes, I'll admit, I'm a very big Superman fan, so, I'm a little more critical of, the character in the movies and stuff compared to other things, like, say, Wonder Woman, where, I don't really read Wonder Woman comics, so, you can really do whatever you want with her, and I really don't care as long as I get an entertaining film. And that's what happens, we judge the things we love a little more harshly, a little more critically than things that we don't. But anyway, Man of Steel comes out, and I was, not really excited for it because based off the trailer, again, my fears of Zack Snyder directing it was something I was worried about. Especially there's that shot in the trailer of Jonathan Kent talking to a young Clark Kent. He was like, "What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?" And Jonathan Kent said, "Maybe." Nothing against Kevin Costner. I like Kevin Costner. He's a great actor, great choice for Jonathan Kent. But I cringed when I heard that. In the preview, it was just horrible. Jonathan Kent, no version ever of Jonathan Kent would ever say that to his son, and I was hoping it was just a trailer trick, editing for the trailer, but it wasn't, and to this day, it's one of my things that really pisses me off about the film. Man of Steel, when it first came out, I was very harsh on the film. Did not like it, almost hated it. As, the years have gone on, I still have problems. Mainly it's story issue. There's a lot of choices that they made for it being a first film in a, hopefully it was going to be a number of Superman films. It was, some of the story choices I think were too much. And really that's what I had a problem with. I liked Henry Cavill. I liked the acting. Of course, the effects and all that stuff was great. I think it was just kind of the story choices that were made that really kind of upset me and turned me off to the film. But it comes out and half the critics like it, half the critics don't, kind of half and half on the audience, all that other stuff. And financially, I think I did okay. Didn't do great, but did okay. So the next one come up was Batman v Superman. And this one was supposed to lead into Justice League. But this time we learned that there was kind of a plan with Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers and DC. They were going to lead all the way up to a Justice League film, much like how they had just saw in 2012. Marvel led up to the Avengers. The Avengers did great. A huge film that made a lot of money, a lot of people liked, and that's what, Warner Brothers wanted. They wanted the kind of excitement, the kind of hype, the kind of money that the Marvel movies were starting to make. The thing was, though, they weren't the same style, the same tone, which, isn't a bad thing to be different, but, when you don't need people to go see the film once. You need to see them several times, and you don't need just your comic book fans to go see this. You need the general audience to go see it multiple times. And the Marvel movies, the way they were structured with the action and the comedy and the story and all that, was set good for a general audience. Where, again, going back to Man of Steel in that tone, it was pretty harsh. I mean, Superman snaps Zod's neck at the end of the film. Not to say the Marvel heroes haven't killed people, but to do it just so brutally like that, is something that, you don't really see Superman or want your kids to see Superman doing. And while I say yes, in that film, Superman definitely had no other choice and made the right choice in that story, I don't think it's a situation Superman should have been in the first film, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to move on. Going on to Batman v Superman, my issue with that was, of course, first off, you just had Superman defeat an army of Kryptonians, an army of Supermen, honestly, really is what it came down to. And that's one of the problems I had with Man of Steel was you set the bar too high. You took the villain too good in that first film. You need to build up to that. A second, third film, that's kind of the villain Zod should have been in a second and third film. But instead, you had him in the first film. He defeats, an army of Supermen. Where do you go from there? Well, you have him fight, another hero, Batman, so to speak. Yeah, whatever. And going to see Batman v Superman in theaters, by the time you get to the part where Doomsday shows up, I was done with the film. I was completely done with the film. I thought it was such a mess. The way the film went and, it was a mess. I mean, honestly, I felt like it was such a mess and just gave me so low hopes for the future of the DC films. Again, it had some cool scenes. I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm one of those people that, when Ben Affleck was announced as Batman, I wrote a blog about how excited I was because I think he's a good actor, good director, and being a Batman fan, I think he was going to do a really good job with the character. Since then, as we know, everyone else has turned around on it, which is great. And, I'm a little sad that he might not be Batman anymore, but that's neither here nor there. The film was a mess. I was not excited for Justice League. Then, I can't remember when it came out. Hold on, I'm going to try to look it up here. The ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, did it come out before or after Justice League? I'm trying to figure that out here. Man. The ultimate... Well, it doesn't say when it came out. The film came out in 2016, but I was not excited for Justice League after, being disappointed with Man of Steel and being disappointed with Batman v Superman. Then I saw the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, which allegedly had 30 minutes of extra footage in it. And from the clips I was seeing online, it was a lot of Superman stuff, which I thought was very lacking for a film that was pretty much, Batman v Superman, a Man of Steel sequel, so to speak. And I watched that film, and I gotta say, it restored my faith in Zack Snyder and his ability to do the job, really, what he was working towards, because it was said that he was going to have like a 5-film plan, like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, 2-part Justice League, and then finally another, Superman film. The story, a full circle of Superman's storyline, which, again, I wasn't very excited about, but when I saw what he originally wanted before the theatrical cut came out of Batman v Superman, the ultimate cut, to me, I think is a great film. I think it's, one of my top 10, if not top 20 films, of the genre, so to speak. So I was excited, what he could do with Justice League, given if he had, the ability and to do what he wanted. And that there lies, I think the problem was Warner Brothers, the studio itself, were the ones that were messing with everything. After Man of Steel, Zack was probably working on Batman v Superman. They weren't satisfied with what Man of Steel did critically and financially. You can tell what their decision-making process was editing the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman, because 30 minutes of that film that were taken out were all Superman / Clark Kent stuff, where all the Batman stuff was left in. So the studio was like, hey, Batman's always been good. People love Batman. Batman makes money. Let's, just cut it down a little bit and we'll leave all the Batman stuff in. That's what their decision-making process was. What they got was a mess of a film because they left out certain plot points as well in regards to, why Superman was blamed for those attacks at the beginning of the film, why Superman couldn't see the bomb in the chair in the Senate hearing, and other things that, help make it make it all make sense. In the film, things were taken out, and that's why you got a mess of a film that is the Batman v Superman theatrical cut, where the ultimate cut, I think, is a complete film, and I really enjoy it. So there's that. But again, Batman v Superman didn't do financially what they Warner Brothers wanted, and actually it was less than half of the people, of audiences, of critics that liked Batman v Superman. So at this point, Warner Brothers is thinking, hey, we're in trouble a little bit. It's not doing what we want. We're spending a lot of money on these films. We want that Avengers, that Marvel movie, and we're not getting it. So what do we got to do? Well, let's shake it up. And at that point, it was a couple months before David Ayer's Suicide Squad was coming out, and Ayer himself said at one point he was taken out of the edit bay. A trailer company had come in to help finish the film and make it something different than what he wanted. Because Warner Brothers was scared. They needed that film to do well. They needed Justice League to do well, and so Suicide Squad, I think did good for what it was. So I think the studio was satisfied with it. It was still critically bombed. I didn't like the film at all. I have no interest of ever seeing the film ever again. Not to say I'm not excited for James Gunn's Suicide Squad, but that's another story. So with Justice League, you come back and what is it? I mean, at this point, this is where we get kind of into Rumorville almost, because we know for a fact that Zack Snyder and his wife Deborah lost their child around that point, and production was shut down. And when they came back, it was said that they couldn't do it anymore, and they just had to leave the project altogether. The rumor was, of course, that Warner Brothers was thinking about firing him off the project anyway, because given his track record of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, they didn't think Justice League was going to be what they needed it to be and make the kind of money they wanted and needed it to make. So they were going to, fire Zack Snyder at that point anyway. So they brought in Joss Whedon to come in and finish the film. You want that Justice League film to be like the Avengers, to make that Avengers money. Bring in the guy who directed the Avengers, and maybe it's good. And I'm a fan of Joss Whedon. I love Buffy, Firefly, Avengers, all that stuff. I loved his run on X-Men, Astonishing X-Men. I'm a Joss Whedon fan. And here's where we're going to get to dicey stuff, which I'm trying to be brief of this as I can. Of course, in the last year or so, Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, has come out and said that there were verbal abuse and mistreatment on the cast of Justice League after Zack Snyder left by Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, and I think Walter Hamada. And he spoke very vocally about it. The problem with that is that he gives all these allegations with really no proof, is what it comes down to. And, if it did happen, okay. If it didn't happen, whatever. But, you throw stuff all around like that, back it up, really. And, he's reaping some consequences of his actions as far as, possibly not being in future projects in regards to Warner Brothers and DC. But I don't really want to get into it too much, especially after this week. There are more allegations in regards to Joss Whedon and how he treated some of the females on the set of Buffy and Angel. Needless to say, of course, I'm a fan of his work. The man himself, I've never met him, so whatever. If Ray Fisher is true, fine. If he's false, fine. Whatever. It's not for me to judge, personally. I wasn't there. I don't know these people. I don't know the situation. All I can do is, as a fan, just look at the body of work and kind of go from there. Anyway, Justice League comes out 2017, and you can tell it was a mixed bag of Snyder and Whedon. And the worst part is the fact that I know that Whedon wanted more time to do more with the film, and the studio wouldn't give it to him. Now, allegedly, of course, news has come out that I think it was the president of Warner Brothers at the time, said, no, I want this film to come out so it can make some money so I can get my bonus for the year. And that's why they wouldn't give Whedon any more time, which is a shitty thing to do. So if Whedon was, sporadic or under pressure, at the time of filming Justice League, because he was under pressure. I'm sure the studio gave him huge pressure to finish this film and make it good and make sure there was success like Avengers. Well, comes out a little bit lighter in tone, a few more jokes in regards to Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. And it didn't do great, I think it made the lowest of all the DC films. Even Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman had come out at that time as well too, and people didn't love it. And a lot of people were talking about how it was Joss Whedon's fault, and they need to bring back Zack Snyder. And there's a cut of Justice League that is the Zack Snyder cut, and it needs to come out, it needs to be shown. In regards to that, yes, there was a cut, we've confirmed now, of the film that was unfinished. It didn't have effects, it didn't have music, it was an incomplete film. There was a cut of scenes together that was incomplete, that was not anything that it was actually finished. So all those people who I see now were like, see, there was a cut of Justice League, see, there was a cut, we were right all these years. No, you were not right all these years, you dumbasses, okay? There was a cut, but it needed $80 million to finish it, okay? There was nothing that was able to be put out. It needed $80 million of money to finish the music, the effects, all that stuff. And by the way, guys, I'm stopping every 10 minutes to save what I've done. So it's like, instead of one big long audio that I can just save, I'm saving it in pieces actually. So this is going to be part 3 that I'm going to be saving because I don't know when my power is going to go out. So anyway, yes, people who say, oh, there's always been a Snyder Cut, it's always been out there, bullshit, okay? Then why the hell did Warner Brothers have to give millions of dollars to Zack Snyder and his team to finish something that was actually presentable to the world? But people were clamoring for a Snyder Cut to come out, and finally with HBO Max and Time Warner and Warner Brothers needing product for their streaming service, it is finally coming out, and the people who have been standing behind Zack Snyder and released the Snyder Cut and all that feel vindicated and feel like it was all worth it. Great for you, happy day. I was always curious to see the film, to see what Zack Snyder wanted. Like I said, after the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, I really wanted to see what Zack Snyder had planned next. I was one of those people that I don't hate Justice League, but I was definitely disappointed with it. I liked the version of Superman we got. It felt actually like Superman. In this one, which is, in the complete arc of the story, is I think what Zack Snyder was going for by the end of his run. Clark Kent, Kal-El, was going to be the Superman that we know Superman is. And that's what we got in this one, except for the fake little mustache thing, which, if you don't know the story, of course, Henry Cavill, working on the next Mission Impossible film, had a mustache, and he was called back to do reshoots for Justice League after Zack Snyder left and Joss Whedon came on, but he couldn't shave his mustache. So of course they digitally tried to remove it. It looked absolutely horrible, completely horrible in the film, and I can't believe they ever even tried it. It was so fucking stupid. So anyway, needless to say, again, Justice League, not what I wanted to be. Had some great scenes in it, some really good stuff, much like the other films, but overall not great, at least in my eyes. So again, Ultimate Cut made me curious what the Snyder Cut was going to be like. And now here we are. Originally, they said it was going to be a 4-part miniseries, which I think is the best way to do it. But now they've changed it to an actual 4-hour movie. That, I think, is a mistake because of the fact that if you look at what other streaming services are doing, specifically Disney Plus versus Netflix. Netflix, they came out and they dump all their whole season, 13 to 10 episodes all at once. People can binge watch them, done. People talk about it. They love it. That's the way it's been done for several years now. People love it. But as we've learned within the last year or so, going back to that weekly format that, we used to have when the old days of TV, works better, honestly. Mandalorian and now WandaVision shows that releasing stuff on a weekly format keeps people talking about it. Keeps the generating more, bigger audience. If you missed, episode 1 and 2, but you hear about it, you can jump on, go watch episode 1 and 2, and jump on to episode 3 that's coming out in the next couple of days, instead of saying, hey, Daredevil season 3 came out, it's really good, you should watch it. So instead of saying, hey, go watch, an hour or two of programming to get caught up for what's coming next, be like, hey, go watch 13 hours of programming and, then be done. It's especially for a general viewer, it's a little daunting, and, the weekly format, I think, just works better. Generates more buzz, gets a bigger audience. I think that's the way it is. So, first off, people don't like longer films. I mean, Titanic, yeah, it made a lot of movie money, Endgame, all that. I guess you could say what I just said was disproven. But, for a film that is already come out, technically, a longer edited version, it's the fact that it's coming out on a streaming service means people can, pause it and come back to it. But I think, again, you're going to get, you would get much bigger audience releasing it in 4 parts, a week apart, than you will just releasing the whole thing all together. I mean, I'm going to watch it. Other geeks are going to watch it. I totally get it. But if you want more general audience to get into it, the weekly 4-part format, I think, would have been the better deal, to be honest, because, people sitting at home, watching stuff when convenient, I get it. Maybe they're more likely to watch a 4-hour film and pause it and, watch it in parts versus at a theater where they don't want to sit there for 4 hours. But I think in my eyes, in my experience, people are less likely to watch a whole film, especially a longer film of 4 hours, if they are at home, distracted by everything else, being on their phones, their kids, having to go do laundry, stuff like that. They're less into the film, really, is what it is, the longer it goes. So again, I think putting it as a mini-series versus a 4-hour film, I think is a mistake. Okay, so finally to the trailer. That's right, I finally got to the trailer, guys. God, I hope my power doesn't go out here. I really hope it doesn't. You know what? Before I start the trailer, let me stop and save real quick. Okay, stop and save. This is part 4 now that I'm doing of this episode, and I think I got all the backstory in there, so now I'm ready to get the actual trailer. Kind of, my feelings about it, where, wishy-washy on Warner Brothers. Excited for this, but I wasn't one of those people that was really clamoring, saying, give us the Snyder Cut all these years. So that's where we stand as far as me with this film. So, the first trailer we got, I thought was weird. It was during the DC fandom, and I thought it was weird that, it's a Zack Snyder film, and we got a song from another Zack Snyder movie, Hallelujah. I forget who sings it or whatever, but it was a song that was in Watchmen, another Zack Snyder film, when Night Owl and Spectre were having sex in Archie. So I thought that was a little odd. As a guy who knows that scene, and knows from another Zack Snyder film, I thought it was weird to put that with a trailer. This music, nothing special about it, but it starts off like we did with, the first trailer we got, which is, Superman dying, him, defeating Doomsday, but also dying himself, which is something that, this Justice League film and the 2017 film was really all about how, Earth's protector, its most powerful being, Superman, is dead. And that, kind of signals to Darkseid and his minions that, okay, Earth is now vulnerable. Their most powerful hero is dead. So, the Kryptonian is dead. So now we can go attack Earth and, get the mother boxes and what we need to invade. So with this, first shot, we see Superman dying, and we see his voice going out, and, kind of his screams of death, almost, again, signaling to the rest of the universe that Earth is vulnerable. Now, Lex Luthor saying the bell has rung, and you see this at the end of Batman v Superman, with when Batman comes to Lex Luthor as well, And in this, you see the destruction that has followed the battle with Doomsday between Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the cries going out. And that's kind of what this whole first part, is trying to signal that, people are realizing that Superman is dead and, something worse is coming. The god is dead, as Lex Luthor puts it. Bruce Wayne, I had a dream, going back to the dream sequence in Batman v Superman, that, an invasion is coming and he needs to assemble a team to defeat him. And of course, in this film, one thing we're not getting that we got in the original one, in the original Justice League 2017, Steppenwolf. We heard a mention of Darkseid, but in this one, we're actually getting Darkseid. We actually see Darkseid. Granny goodness, I don't know who the other person is, honestly, but, Steppenwolf looks like, in this shot here, it looks like he's bowing to someone who you think would be Darkseid. But if you look at the shot, it doesn't look like Darkseid. I don't know, it probably is, because who else would Steppenwolf bow to? And of course, as you notice as well, Steppenwolf looking a little different than he did in the original 2017 film, looking more like he did in the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman. Yes, a deleted scene where Lex Luthor was said to be working with Steppenwolf and pretty much Darkseid. It's a whole new aspect to, again, Batman v Superman. One thing I'm looking forward to is, again, I was a fan of Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Cut. Man of Steel, I have thought on a little bit. I still don't think it's great. But what I'm hoping is this film, the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, put it with the Ultimate Cut and Man of Steel, and you get a nice little trilogy, is kind of what my hope is in that regards. And that's what really my hope is for this film, that it fits in with the Ultimate Cut and Man of Steel to where I can watch and have a nice little trilogy. Of course, scenes, Steppenwolf attacking the Amazons, going a little more brutal than what we saw in the theatrical cut. Bruce Wayne trying to recruit people. Aquaman looks like he's fighting Steppenwolf underwater. That shot, of course, Ray Fisher's Cyborg got a nice little cannon on him. Ray Fisher said there's a lot more that he shot that was not in the theatrical cut. Felt like he was almost taken completely out of the film. I have no doubt that we're going to see more of him. There's a shot later on of him flying. This one, kind of giving more artillery with the cannon in there. And then there's a shot with him, as a human, as Victor Stone. I imagine that scene is going to be probably about him, trying to take control of his body, the metal, the mother box versus the man, and that whole relationship. If you want more on that, you can either read the Justice League comic by Jeff Johns, or you can go watch the animated movie Justice League War, which kicks off a whole DC animated cinematic universe, which in my eyes has been better than the live action version on theater. But anyway, which, by the way, sorry, I gotta mention it, Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, animated film, much better than the actual Suicide Squad film we got in theaters. But okay, glossing over that, gotta continue what I was saying. Flash, a lot of action, Batman, parademons, more fighting. This great line from Alfred, I love it. If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it. Basically saying that, yes, the bad guys are coming, but if Bruce hasn't assembled his team, if his team's not good enough to take them on, then he needs to, I think what he's trying to say is wait till you have the best team possible, an actual chance of defeating him. Don't, go out there and show that you are formidable but not good enough to defeat. I think it's kind of what he's trying to say in that scene, at least. And again, we're getting, more Darkseid. The villain is actually Darkseid in this film, which is something I'm excited for. He's a Thanos-level villain. If I were making a Superman trilogy of films, he'd be my villain in my third Superman film, because I think he is just so powerful. He can physically go toe-to-toe with Superman, but also their mentality or their philosophies are completely different, which is why I find him to be such a great, formidable villain for Superman. And then we see this Jonathan Kent, again, voiceover. You were sent here for a reason. If it takes the rest of your life, you got to figure out what it is. And then from there, we go to Superman, doing his whole flying scene, which I want to get to that in just a sec. But Another scene we see is Iris West. The scene of Barry saving Iris, and probably him, finally meeting Iris, falling in love with her, whatever. Again, a scene that wasn't in the theatrical cut. Iris was not in it at all. We're gonna get to see that, expand on that a little bit, and going to, again, like I said, Superman doing a classic takeoff like he did in that scene of Man of Steel where he first learned to fly, which I think is a great scene. I love that scene, actually. Where it was put in the context, again, I have issues with Man of Steel in that regards, but I love that scene, and having that voiceover of Jonathan Kent and then playing this scene where, again, it's reminiscent of the Superman takeoff from Man of Steel. Again, just Superman coming back to life, so to speak, and trying to find his real purpose, his real place in the world. What is his role? What is his job? What can he do for Earth? I think it's just the echo of it all. And again, hoping that this all fits in with Ultimate Cut and Man of Steel for a complete trilogy that is satisfying. And then from there, a lot of more shots. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, of course. Even the shot of them walking out of the ship. That's a shot we got in Justice League. I forget what the ratio is. I forget what the ratio is of what we saw in theaters versus what Zack Snyder has. I would say, I want to say half of what we saw in 2017 we'll probably see again in, this Snyder cut, as well as, a lot more stuff, to say the least. I'm curious, I guess, of, how different is it going to feel, how much new stuff we're going to get. Will it feel like a completely different film or just an add-on of the other film? Just, curious of what it's going to be like in that regards. Because, like I said, a lot of these shots, some of them we've seen before. Even the shot towards the end, it's Superman in the black costume, beating on someone and then using his heat vision. I remember that shot. That's in the 2017 version where he's beating on Steppenwolf and defeating him like that, except for, again, the background looks different, the costume looks different. So, again, it's probably him beating on either Steppenwolf or Darkseid, I imagine, but just in a different context, a different costume even, so to speak. And that's, pretty much that is Zack Snyder's Justice League, March 18th, except for this end where Joker, we live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right, Batman? And this looks like we're in the dream sequence again, the one we saw in Batman v Superman. If you look at Batman and next to him you see Cyborg in the background. But of course, this is Jared Leto's Joker, the Joker of this cinematic universe that we see here. He's got a SWAT vest on, he's got a gun in his hand, almost like he's working with Batman. And in a future where, you got to defeat parademons, Darkseid, and probably a rogue Superman, you got to team up with who you can, so that's understandable. So yes, this is a Joker working with Batman, and if it's still a dream sequence, if it's actually part of the film where things do go bad and you flash forward a little bit and the dream came true, I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm just at this point along for the ride. Show me what you're going to show me, Zack Snyder, and we'll go from there. So, that is it. That is the Snyder Cut, the new trailer, and many thoughts I have on what's coming out. Like I said, excited for the film because it's my hope that it will be better than what we got in 2017. With the 2017 film, I don't blame Joss Whedon or Zack Snyder for that film and how it turned out. If anything, I blame Warner Brothers for how they have handled the DC films up to that point in regards to, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League, and how the decisions they have made, I think, affected the box office and the critique of those films. Because, what? David Ayer, I think, is a great filmmaker. He's done a lot of good films. Most notably, I loved Fury with Brad Pitt and Logan Lerman. I love that movie. David Ayer did that movie, and I know that he's a good director. So how we got Suicide Squad from him, well, it just goes to show, again, everything from what he said, he didn't have any say over editing the film. So it's the studio, I think, up until that point. Whether they've learned that lesson, I think they might have, given the fact that Aquaman was received better, and I think a better film. Joker, Shazam, Birds of Prey, I'm not going to talk about. But, I think they have started to learn their lesson, maybe a little bit. And the real thing is, I think they need to learn to trust their directors. Let the directors do the vision that was agreed upon. I'm not saying don't meddle. Studios shouldn't just say, yeah, here's a bunch of money, go make a movie. It has to do with the pre-production and directors and the studios and producers agreeing on what they're going to make, how it's going to feel beforehand, and then letting the director do what he was supposed to, and studio only interfering if it looks like they're veering off from the agreed upon plan, much like Kathleen Kennedy did with Solo and Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They allegedly agreed on what the Solo film was going to be. Kasdan came to Kathleen Kennedy, said, hey, that's not what they're doing, so she had to let him go and bring on Ron Howard and make someone that was the film that Lucasfilm and Disney wanted them to make. Crossing genres, crossing stuff like that here, but that's kind of the same situation. And let's make no mistake, okay, this film, as much as there was an edit of scenes put together at Zack Snyder's house that were unfinished, no real effects, no music, none of that, this film would not have happened without the coming of HBO Max. Deborah Snyder, Zack Snyder's wife and producer on the film, has said this film would not have seen the light of day if it wasn't for HBO Max needing content to put on their streaming service, and Warner Brothers willing to put in the money to finish the film so they could put it on HBO Max to try to entice more viewers towards HBO Max. I signed up for HBO Max, I think when it first started, actually. And in the last couple months, it's been my number one streaming service. I mean, the HBO content, the DC content, the Warner Brothers content, it's the app that I most use now, next to probably Disney Plus. I don't watch a lot of Netflix now. Not to say I don't use Netflix or watch stuff on Netflix, but I don't watch as much on it as much. I'd probably go, my top three that I use right now are probably HBO Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu. Hulu I watch mainly for a lot of the archived content, really, with that. But anyway, the film would not be happening without HBO Max. And anyone who says, no, it was always going to come out, when it came out in theaters or whatever, and even people are saying still this is going to come out in theaters. Zack Snyder said that if it doesn't come out in theaters, there needs to be a 10-minute intermission, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, okay? There's a reason this film, after years, got made. It was because Warner Brothers thought it would be a good thing for HBO Max. Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder came to Warner Brothers, showed them the cut they had, and said, hey, I know you got HBO Max coming. This, give me some money and I can finish this, and this could be something that can entice people, something that people have been clamoring for. That's how it all came about. And I, again, not the type of person that, was one of the voices that wanted to say, give me the Snyder cut, but I was enticed by it. I would be curious to see it, and now we're getting it, and I'm excited for it, because again, I hope that it is going to be Zack Snyder's fulfillment of, what he wanted to do originally with the DC characters and the Justice League and Superman and all that. So I'm happy he got to see it finished. Of course, people are saying, well, if this is good, then, we need Justice League 2. And, Zack Snyder himself has said there's no plans right now to continue, especially since the DC universe has continued on much, much later with other films than this. So never say never, but I'm not getting my hopes up at all. All right, guys, that is it. It's time for you to fire back on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let me know what you think, not only about this trailer, did it get you more excited for the film, less excited? Also, just the whole Justice League, Zack Snyder, DC. It's a lot. Like I said, I would love to see some kind of documentary years from now about the making of the Justice League film and all the drama that went into the film. I think it'd be much more appealing than the actual film itself. But that's it for me, guys. I'm going to try to sign off here before my power goes out and save this. Maybe if the power holds out, I can get this posted up here today. I'm hoping so, considering I'm already a day behind than what I'd like. But Fire back. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, Facebook group, Twitter account, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com is always there. And then, like I said, you can find me personally, Slim Dayspring12 on Twitter and Instagram. I'm always there, guys. Always looking to talk all the stuff in the world of geekdom. Post your own stories, your own stuff. We can discuss there. And that's going to be it. So if you're out there and you got some snow and it's cold like it is here in Texas, stay inside, stay safe, stay warm, guys. That's all we can do for right now until it all blows over. So that's it. Go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your lives, and until next time, may the force be with us all.